everyone, and welcome back to Ponderosa North for the love of Bonanza. Today I'm going to talk about Hop Sing, and why not? He was an integral part of the show and the clan, and he was there from the beginning to the end. He didn't appear in every episode, but he did appear in every season, starting with the pilot episode, A Rose for Lotta, where he sort of started his character's career by telling the Cartwrights they were late for supper, which is perfect if you ask me. Played by Victor Sen Young. A little bit about Victor was that he was born in 1914 in San Francisco, and he passed away in 1980 at quite a young age of 65 from asphyxia. He had a gas leak in his house, which is so unfortunate. 65, I mean, that's terrible. It's way too young to go. He had so much more to give, Hop Sing did, or Victor Sen Young did. When they were casting Bonanza, David Dortort was insistent that Hop Sing be played by a person of Chinese origin, or a Chinese person. Hop Sing was Chinese. The Chinese were a big part of opening up the West and, building the railroads, and the Chinese were very important to that part of the world at that time. So David Dortort was very insistent that Hop Sing be played by a Chinese person, which Victor Sen Young was. He went to USC Berkeley for agriculture. He served in World War II. And a little side note about Victor Sen Young was that he was involved in a hijacking. He was on a flight back to San Francisco, and his plane was hijacked. How terrifying is that? And he was even wounded in the skirmish. So, yeah, very, very interesting guy. And even before Bonanza, he had really established himself as a movie actor. He was part of the Charlie Chan movies. He was a #1 son, I believe. Did something like 30 movies so he was a very well established, a very experienced actor before he hit the High Sierra in 1959 as the cook for the Cartwrights. I'm not sure if he cleaned either. I think it was just a cook. But what I loved about Hop Sing was that he was like the mother. He was very much the disciplinarian. Obviously, he had helped raise these boys, and they respected him, and they loved his food, and they kind of took him for granted a little bit. But he was the mom. I love the scene in Feet of Clay when Hoss is in the kitchen and he steals one of the powdered donuts that Hop Sing had just made. You can't really hide powdered donuts. Powder's everywhere. And Hop Sing comes in, "You're a bad boy. That's for supper. You wait." It's like he was constantly chastising them and complaining about them, and he was just sort of the ground. He grounded the Cartwrights. But that being said, whenever one of them was injured or hurt or sick, he was the first one there to bring them aid and feed them and care for them. He really, truly did care for those boys and for Ben. He loved them. And they loved him back. How could you not? He was so important to them. Like I said, he was very much taken for granted. And Hop Sing loved to fool Hop Sing, and if he needed to catch chickens or something, he'd say, "Well, you can catch them a lot better than me." And next thing you know, Hoss is crawling around doing his work for him. So it was a very fun relationship. I can't think of having Bonanza without having Hop Sing. Like I said, he was from the beginning to the end. I think his last episode was the marriage of Theodora Duffy, which featured Tim Matheson and Karen Carlson. 108 episodes under his belt. And just, like I said, I mean, look at this face. He was so dynamic. He had so much to give and so much fun. Who doesn't love Hop Sing? I just want to bring to your attention the episode Mark of Guilt, where it's the one that really sticks out to me the most with regard to Hop Sing, because he's bullied in town, and he's had his ponytail removed, and to a Chinese person, if that is removed, you can't get to heaven. It was extremely important to them at the time, and he's just distraught that this has happened to him. And Joe finds him. Sorry, my light sort of went out. I'm using a makeshift light, so there's a lot of weird lighting. But this is where you can see that Joe really cares about Hop Sing. He loves him, and if something happens to him, he gets, that's his mine. He belongs to us. Don't you, they're very protective, is what I'm trying to say of him. And this episode involved a very interesting Chinese fact in that everybody's thumbprints are different. It's like DNA 20 years ago was not accepted in courts. Well, back then fingerprints weren't even, it wasn't even known that everybody had a different fingerprint. So in this episode, Joe, is accused of murder, as he's been known to be accused of many times. They're all accused of murder all the time. But the proof is in the fingerprints, and Hop Sing comes to, as Joe had come to his rescue, Hop Sing comes to Joe's rescue, and Hoss has to end up defending Joe in the trial. And he's left behind a fingerprint at the crime scene. And Hop Sing says, well, he's got a chop. They called them chop. And he explains to Hoss and Little Joe that everybody's chop is different, just like everybody's DNA is different. So he ends up proving this in court, and finally Hop Sing becomes the hero. And it's a great episode. It's called Mark of Guilt. So you can catch that anytime. If you have any questions or you have any more insight into Hop Sing, I'm always happy to hear about it. And we'll see you next time on Ponderosa North for the love of Bonanza. Bye.